Your lighting layout is different than everyone else's house. It can't be the same. Your needs are different. Your budget's different. Your cabinet colors, your paint colors, all of that is different. So how can there be all these formulas out there that work for everybody? Well, there really can't. But we all have basic needs. I've got 10 secrets that are going to help you start and check your lighting plan. It's a great starting point to make sure that you have enough coverage for lighting and that the lights aren't floating out in the middle of nowhere doing nothing for you. The first thing that we're going to do is get familiar with the layout. If we take a look at this, we've got a foyer, great room, kitchen here with an island, dining over here, and a big pantry. And then some bedrooms, bathrooms, master, laundry, blah, blah, blah. Once you understand what you're looking at with the plans and you have an idea of the flow and where furniture is going to be and the built-ins and that kind of stuff, then light the corners. In this great room, for instance, I can see this dotted line around here indicates some kind of a tray ceiling. So I want to be careful of that. So I'm going to leave these recessed lights inside the tray. Now, these lights over here will cast light into the kitchen. But the first thing you want to do is light the corners. You can come back in and tweak these and move them around as needed. But that's step number one. Light the corners. It pushes the walls out. It keeps recessed lights away from the blades of a fan. So I've lit the corners. You make it feel larger. It pushes the walls out. It highlights them. It shows you the very boundaries of the space, so it makes it bigger. Same thing with your exterior. If you have lights around the perimeter of your fence, it stakes out your property. It's like when your dog stakes out the territory. You mark where the edges are. And so it lets everyone see how big the room actually is. It also provides ambient light to generally light the room. How are you going to use the space? So look at the plans and think about where you're going to work. Where am I going to chop vegetables? Where am I going to mix up stuff? Where am I going to do my writing? If you identify those places where you need task lights, then you're on number 2. When we look at this kitchen, we want to think about where we're going to work. And we've got this big island with lots of countertop space. So I'm figuring a lot of the work's going to go on over here and on either side of this cooktop here. Maybe double fridges here, and that's the ovens. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of work going on these countertops. Place the task lights. And this is simple. Over the sink, over the countertops, over your desk, over vanities in the bathroom. You want to hit areas where you're going to do a lot of work, where you need light to see that work. Not the top of your head, but the countertops, the vanities, the desk. You get the idea. On the island, probably they're going to have some pendants. So let's add those pendants in so we know that there's going to be some other light there before we start dropping in the recessed cans. And then we can add them in. So once I've figured where my pendants are going to go, my jewelry in the kitchen, I want to start laying out where I'm going to work. So I'm probably going to work right at the sink. I want some light. I'm also going to want some light on this countertop over here on the other side of the range. I want to match that because we love symmetry. Where else in this kitchen am I going to work? In addition to the recessed lights, we add some under counter lights here and over here. If we add some under counter lights here and here, now we've got plenty of task light. Between these pendants, when you are hanging these pendants, make sure that you hang them at a height where people are. So 30 to 36 inches above the countertop. Technically, this should be first, and that is fixtures. Choose the fixtures that you're going to use in the space first because they're the jewelry, they're the sparkle. They're the things that we want people to see. Not glowing, glare-ridden discs of wafer shit in your ceiling. We want to see the jewelry, the sparkle, the ambient light or the task light that fixtures are going to give. So once we place them, then we know what we're left with for the recessed lighting. Just a little tip on these fixtures. I know I've said it before, but 30 to 36 inches above countertops for pendants, for chandeliers over dining room tables. And if you've got a big vaulted ceiling or a cathedral ceiling, don't put those pendant lights way up there they still need to be generally in the area where people are. So 8 to 10 feet if you have a 12 to 16 foot ceiling, depending on the fixture you choose. Choose appropriately. You want tall people to feel comfortable underneath it, but you don't want it floating up at the top of the rafter and not have the light cast light up and down and all around.
The ambulance is racing.
Your ass, breaking your ass. Okay, that's the next one. Safety. You want to go through your plans and look for doorways, staircases, entrances, places where you need light to move through the space. For your safety, you want to light up every doorway. You want to light up the bottom and the top of staircases. So, I want to make sure that my doors and my stairs are lit up. So, front door, entry into the foyer somewhere here. We're going to have a light at the bottom of the stairs, so that's going to kind of light the path there. This could be a recessed light over the landing, or it could be a chandelier here over the stairs. So then we want to make sure that we're lighting the top of the stairs when you get up there. And this would be a three-way switch. So when you come to the stairs, you can light the path up and turn the stair lights off. And when you're going down, you can light the path and turn the stair lights off when you get downstairs. We've also got a back door over here, so we want to light that doorway so that we can see when we come into the room. We come in from outdoors. You want to make sure that you light high traffic, high flow areas. And that brings us to the next one. Once you've got the first part of your safety in place, you want to think about the second one, and that is lighting the path. So from the front door to the next switch, that's what you want to think about. How do I flip this switch and have a lighted path to the next switch? When you can move through the house with switches as you go, then you've done it right. You want to make sure that you can see down the hallway at night, that you can see out the path to the back door. So you want to make sure you can get from the front door to the next switch in the kitchen, or from the kitchen to the next switch in the dining room, and be able to turn those lights off as you go. Don't forget about the outside. When you're thinking about your safety and your path lighting, think about the exterior as well. So you want to light up your gates. You want to light up walkways, driveways, front entrances, back doors, the shed, whatever it might be outside. Treat it the same as the interior. You want to have lighting. You want to have layers of lighting. So you don't want all of the light coming from spotlights off the garage. You may want some path lighting as well. Treat your exterior the same as you would an interior space, and it'll be beautiful. This might be 6, I think. I think we're up to 6. Okay. When you are laying out your lights, this is a professional tip. You don't want to place them in front of a window, because what will happen is you will get, at night, a black mirror of your room reflected back to you. It's disturbing. Same thing on the outside. You don't want to put those exterior lights in front of windows that are shining into your house. It impedes your view out the window, so you can't see what's going on at night. And it's also annoying to have a glowing light shining in your house from the outside. So when you're placing your exterior lights, for instance, in this case, instead of putting them here, maybe in the eaves, I would put them here and here, so that you minimize the glare that's coming in these windows here. When you can, make sure you push those lights away. Keep them off the glass at least 18 to 24 inches. If you have a big wall of windows, just light the curtains in the corners. I saved this one for Lucky 7 because it's really important. Once you get your plan all set up, you think you've got it going, check against your elevations. Because we'll lay out this plan looking at it from a bird's eye view. But when you're standing and you have a full height cabinet, you might have to move those lights out. Or when you have beams in the way, obstructions, ductwork, check the elevations against where you place the lights. Sometimes it looks pretty good on a plan, and then when you take a look at what's going on in the elevations, especially with cabinetry or shelving, you might want to tweak it. So make sure you compare your plans with the lights on it to what the elevation, what the vertical view will be, because it's very telling And sometimes you have to tweak things. Sometimes you'll see that it's going to be in front of a window, in front of a full-depth cabinet, built-ins. You may want to add lighting because there was a special feature. So make sure you look at your elevations. Let's say we drop one here. We grab another one, put another one here. And we start laying them out. What we need to do is compare them to the elevations of this kitchen. And I realize that I've got a light in front of this hood. So we've got some glow coming here, and then I've got one in this corner, and I've got this one over here over this countertop. But what I realize when I look at these is this is a full height cabinet, and this looks like it's a full height cabinet here. So if I'm putting these lights back there, that's not going to work. When you lay out your lights on the plan, make sure that you check them against the elevations. Look at your elevation. Color matters. So when you are doing your lighting plan and you're laying out all these beautiful lights and recessed cans, make sure they match. Decide what color you like. Decide what colors are appropriate for the rooms they're going in, and keep them all the same. So if your chandelier is 3,500 Kelvin, don't get 5,000 Kelvin for your kitchen. They don't match. It's very disconcerting. Pick the colors that you like. For instance, I got a little treat for you here. Whoop! Go to the lighting store. See what kind of temperature you prefer. Is it 27? Is it 3,000? Is it 3,500? Is it 4,000? You see the difference in color. So go to a lighting store. 2,700, much more flattering. Go to a lighting store. Color matters. So check the temperature of the spaces that you're lighting. Check the cabinetry, the floor colors, your countertop colors, your paint colors, because the color temperature you choose, whether it's 27, 30,000, 35, 4,000, 5,000 kelvins, you see the difference. It's changing everything around me. So you have to decide, do you want it to be warm and 2,700, or do you want it to be sterile and bright and Dexter at 5,000 Kelvin? Decide what you want. Make sure all the lights match in the spaces that they show to each other. So if you wanted to do 27 in the bedroom, you don't have to keep them all the same throughout the house, and you don't have to keep them all the same all day long. So if you go for human-centric lighting, which I talked about in another video I will link, you can change from cool to warm throughout the day as daylight changes, which our body naturally appreciates. In the bedroom, you could have 2,700 Kelvin while you have 35 or 4,000 Kelvin in the kitchen. The rooms and the tasks and the atmosphere of those rooms can dictate what kind of color temperature you want to use. But if they're open to each other, then you start to run into a problem. That's where dimmers come into play. Remember that 2,700 Kelvin isn't necessarily not a bright light if it has a lot of lumens. It just has a different cast to it, a yellower cast, a warmer cast. 5,000 Kelvin is going to look a whole lot more sterile and precise and blue. So it's up to you and your preference. Oh, almost knocked over the camera. Okay, I think we're getting there. The riches are in the switches. So make sure how you're going to control each light. Turn on the light. And which lights are going to be controlled together. So go through the space in your mind and think, do I want to turn the corners on at the same time? Do I want the pendants to come on separately from the perimeter lights in the kitchen? Think about how you want to be able to use the lights. Like in here, I've got the 4 corner lights and a center light. And my dopey electrician put them all on the same switch. So I can't control the center light separately from the crappy wafers in the corner. Turn on the light. It's on the to-do list of things to fix. But be mindful of that. You want to know how you're going to control it, where you're going to control it from. So when I walk in the room, how do I flip on a switch? How do I get to the next switch to light my path? How do I turn on the lights behind me when I'm going to bed at night? So you want to make sure you know where your 3-way switch is. Number 9 is mighty fine, and that is to check the specs of the fixtures that you chose. If I choose a beam spread that's really tight, I might need more lights. If I choose less lumens, I might need more lights. If I choose a wider beam spread, I might want to space them a bit further apart because it's going to be wider. How bright is the light? The specifications of the light are going to dictate how far apart it needs to be. We can get ahead of ourselves thinking that I've got to do the plan. But I can plan, and contractors can laugh. If they've got wafer lights as the specified light for me, I'm going to want to lay them out differently than a good quality recessed can, because the beam spread's going to be different. The lumens they produce are going to be different. How long they last and the god-awful hole they put in the ceiling are going to be different. So check the specs, see what's in the allowances, and see if you can work with it, because there's a lot of really good lights out there that are fairly affordable. You want to check the specs. You want to make that detailed and clear in your contract. A recessed can is not a wafer light. A wafer light is a surface mount, cheap light that often, when an electrician is trying to keep his bid lower and get a job, will throw those in. That's not what you want. A recessed light is different than a surface mount light. So if you want surface mount wafer lights, go on with your bad self. If you want a recessed can, make sure that the bid is specific and it's detailing exactly the kind of light, or within limits, a 4-inch recessed can with an adjustable gimbal. Be specific. You want to get the right tool for the right thing. And when it comes to recessed lights, think about them like a fixture. I mean, if I go to Target and I buy a cheap light, I know what the expectation is for that light. I know what I expect for the lifespan, what I expect for showing it off, what it will do for me. A recessed light is a fixture. So don't treat it like a light from Target or Walmart or that you order on Amazon. This is your chandelier. This is lots of little chandeliers all around your house. So be particular. They make all the difference in making the rest of your house look beautiful. You're almost there. What do you do now? This is the biggie. If you forget this, you're screwed. This is the walkthrough. Go through with your plans and walk through the space. Mark with chalk, blue tape, whatever it takes, and lay out those lights. See if they make sense in the space. Are they far enough apart? Is there a beam in the way? Is there ductwork here? Oh boy, we're going to move the stove. It's not going to go there. We're going to move this. Changes happen all the time. So walk through the space with the electrician. Walk through it again. Walk through it when he's not there. Make notes. Make sense of it. Make changes. Get the best design you can. Hopefully these 10 generic things will help you to get a better lighting plan. And I pretty much can guarantee that, because the lighting plans I see show no effort at all. But if you need more help with special ceilings, maybe a vault, a cathedral, some wacky sloped ceiling, check out my next video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. And we made it.